Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations on King of Kings. We're really excited from Angel Studios. I'm gonna start with Jay. Tell me a little bit about the film and really the choice of what stories in Jesus' life you guys wanted to follow.
아, 음, 네, 안녕하세요. 저는 이 영화의 감독이면 제작자인 장성우라고 합니다. 근데 저는 예수님 이야기가 아직까지 장편으로 만들어진 적이 없었다는 걸 굉장히 많이 놀랬고, 그래서 이 이야기를 사람들한테 새로운 방식으로 전달하면 재밌겠다는 생각을 했어요. 그게 특히 찰스 디킨스의 이야기하는 방식, 이게 굉장히 흥미롭고 유니크할 수 있다고 생각했습니다.
Hello, my name is Jay, and I'm a director, writer, and producer of the film. At first, I was very surprised that there was no actual full-length feature film, animated feature film, telling the story of Jesus. So I thought it would be very unique, especially if I display the story through the perspective of Charles Dickens, not just the usual way that's been conducted, that's been done before.
And well, Fred, if you want to go ahead and answer this as working in animation and voicing some characters, what is some of the benefits of this type of storytelling in animation?
Well, it was just an incredible experience to be able to tell this story and have it be accessible to kids, and the things that they could show and the things that we could talk about could be all explained, because it really is almost a love letter of Charles Dickens trying to write this so his children can understand the story of Jesus. And it's very, even if you're not a religious person, this is a story you could get behind and just understand what the message is. And so it was a real honor to be a part of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of life lessons there that you can take away, whether regardless of your beliefs. Jamie, tell me a little bit about assembling this. Who's who in voice in your voice cast for the film.
What's the question?
Oh yeah, tell me a little bit about assembling this voice cast for the film, because you have a lot of really heavy hitters as far as what they worked on in the past.
Sure. I'm not sure how to encapsulate it. The subject and the characters of this movie were the blessing and the curse, as it were. It's going to be the reason. Is this chair? Does that squeak sound good?
You'll be okay.
Does that work? It was the reason that some people were going to do it, and the reason that some people were going to, politely pass. But I mean, there are some great iconic characters. It doesn't come much more iconic than Jesus Christ. But Charles Dickens. Thinking like who would be good for that, and if anybody can think of someone better for Charles Dickens than Sir Kenneth Branagh, then let me know. But Ken is a student of Dickens. He's a fan. He's directed a couple different movies with the character of Charles Dickens, in it. So he absolutely knew that character inside and out. Likewise with Oscar as Jesus. Oscar's first big movie was him. I can't remember the name of it, but he plays Joseph. What is it?
Yeah.
There you go. The story. Yeah. And he plays Joseph. And so, additionally, when he was very young, he was raised in a very strict Christian household. So he had lots of deep understanding of the character and the stories. I'm not sure what else.
You're doing great.
The cast it's a great cast. There are, for the most part, people I've worked with. Pierce I've worked with before. Mark Hamill I've worked with before. Uma I have not worked with before, but I've always wanted to, and she was really fun.
Jim Cummings, Fred Tatasciore.
I'm not familiar. Not familiar. I mean, the fact is, recorded the entire movie. He recorded half of the characters just by himself years ago. Just to have some initial tracks to use when they were, building the story reels, storyboards and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly blessed. The luckiest guy in town that I get to sit there and watch these guys do what they do, and then pretend to take credit for it. That's right.
Yeah, thank you. Rob, if you want to talk to me a little bit about your experience on working on the film.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you. Actually, it was interesting because I was just talking to Tony Bancroft, the animator, and for a long time I've been saying, look, I've done all these other projects, Princess and the Frog, which has a spiritual element to it. Um, a lot of these other Disney projects and stuff, and I really wanted to kind of do one project where I lean into it. And Jamie calls me and says, "Hey, I got this thing." And Jay had written this amazing script. It was originally Korean and then a translation, a very rough translation into English, and they wanted somebody to come and smooth it out. And so I did a pass to kind of smooth that out, and they liked some of the other things that I had done, and so I did another pass where I, kind of brought some humor into it and fleshed out the characters a bit, and that really worked out nicely. But this was the kind of story I love to tell. It's bigger than life, and it brings people to it. It's epic, and I think the result of it is just an amazing film.
This is more of a bit of an open question, but we've seen recently really a rise in biblical storytelling with stories about David, and we've seen like things like The Chosen. What is happening really in modern day where we're seeing a little bit more of these biblical storytelling in mainstream media?
Well, I'll speak to it only as an actor that has worked in showbiz for 3 decades, and it's just been within the last 6 years of my career where I've actually been able to kind of talk more about my Christian faith on a red carpet or at a press event because there's things being made. I think there's a need for it, there's a want for it, there's a love for the greatest story ever told, and there's a love for really good filmmakers to tell that story. And the cinematic moments that are captured in this film are unlike anything you could do. Kind of to your question before about in live action, you could do it, but it's going to be CG. In animation, what Woosh has accomplished as a cinematographer with his shots in animation in a way that lives and breathes the scripture. I defy you to find a better version of Jesus walking on the water and Peter coming out to him than this scene in this film, or the baptism of Jesus and going under the water and experiencing what he experienced and then coming back up to life. That we couldn't do that years ago either. Filmmaking has really come leaps and bounds, and so it's exciting for a lot of people that I think are very vocal about it's giving them an opportunity to be vocal about their faith.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that's exciting about this project is a lot of the movies that you've seen traditionally, they're rough, especially the crucifixion. It's very, very difficult to show a child those scenes. And so you wind up having to cover your eye, cover the child's eyes as you're trying to expose them to the greatest story ever told. And what was great about what Jay did is say, like, no, grandma and grandson and mom and dad should be able to sit on the couch and watch this movie and each enjoy it in a different way. And so it doesn't shy away from the things that happen, but it's beautifully told, and it's told in a way that a kid can truly enjoy.
Yeah, it's a really important story. We've seen it before done way. One of my favorite movies growing up, Prince of Egypt. I do
Yes.
want to talk a little bit about the cinematography a bit, if you don't mind passing it the mic. Uh, what was your when you first were started working on this? What did you find your inspiration for the way you wanted this to
Yeah,
look?
I've been working as a director of photography in the live action film industry for more than 20 years. And this was my first live animation film. So when I got a call from Jay to do it together, I asked him that there's nothing I can do in the animation as a person who is in charge of camera and lights. I just can told to the computer operators what to do. But he said we can create a virtual camera system, virtual production system, so that I can keep on doing what I was doing in the live action industry. So I actually grabbed a physical thing. It's not a camera, but it looks like a camera. It functions as a camera in the computer world. So I grab a thing and looking at the monitor, and I was just doing yeah, what I could do in the film set exactly the same way as I did before. So
stage,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So instead of having that sort of rather mechanical uh, camera works, I think if you could see, I mean, yeah, through this photo production system, we could keep the sort of rather organic camera movement.
Oh, it's amazing. We'll start this question with Jay, but actually, it's really open afterwards. What part of Jesus' life are you most excited for audiences to see on the big screen?
시나리오를 처음 쓸 때 굉장히 고민이었던 게 예수님 이야기 중에 정말 중요한 이야기는 이렇게 비유법을 많이 썼는데 그렇다면 뭘 추려야 되고 뭘 버려야 되는지에 대해서 고민이 굉장히 많았어요. 근데 결국은 성경의 첫 줄부터 끝 줄까지의 핵심 단 하나는 결국 사랑이구나. 그 예수님이 우리를 얼마나 사랑하시는지 그 순간의 어떤 느낌이 관객이 전달되면 좋겠다라고 생각했어요.
So what I was most concerned about was that since Bible is written in many parts of Bible, the events are written as an analogy. So what I thought was I was very concerned. What should I extract to include in the film? And I try to figure out first what if I have to summarize the Bible into one word, I would say it is the love of Jesus. So it started from there. So with that concept, I started to pick each event to be included in the film.
And I've heard a lot of you speak today about how refreshing it was to be able to work on a project like this. What did it mean to you guys after you're set and done? Did it feel a little different working on this than other projects?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yes, just from a faith and a love perspective, it was just feeling like, wow, this has really succeeded in what it wanted to do. That's what I really loved. It was so accessible, and without being a spoiler alert, the idea that the father and son could be involved in the story, interjected into the story, and seeing a child's reaction to what's going on, I thought that was very unique, and it because it's a lot to unpack, the story, and to make it accessible for kids is a wonderful thing. So that felt good.
Took a lot longer, I can tell you that. I mean, I was only on it for 7 years. Jay's been doing it for 10 years.
Wow.
So to put that in perspective, we'll just say longer than.
Yeah, I'll say too that at the screening earlier this week, it was great to see the kids' reaction because it was a nice mix of an audience, and to see kids kind of go in and they didn't. You could hear a pin drop. All the kids were leaning forward, big saucers for eyes, and they truly enjoyed it. And there was this massive ovation afterwards. And that's what brought me joy is knowing that we've told the story, we've moved the story forward. It is a told story, and that hopefully those kids were going to go off and share it with their friends, and so on and so on, and that the story was going to go on in a way that it normally doesn't, because kids are so cynical now, and people are moving away from from those kinds of thoughts in general, and so that's what's just fantastic.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. I am very excited to see this film, and I'm also excited to see what kind of conversations it could start between, as you're just saying, between parents and kids, and narrow that bridge about religion in general, which sometimes is getting harder to talk about. So, yeah, King of Kings. We're very excited.
April 11th.